Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Today we have the video about an altcoin, and you already probably know what altcoin we will talk about because the guest which I am having today, Josiah Spacman, he is having a special label on his hoodie. So as you asked, guys, you wanted to talk about Digibyte. There you go. You have your content. So basically, we will talk about the advantages, the interesting features, and try to dig deeper into the tech as much as possible in our short video. First of all, thank you for joining us and making this possible. Welcome.
Thanks for having me on your show, man. It's great to be here.
My pleasure. All right. So first of all, I just want to make a brief, not a question, but still, like, I want to know your opinion about the crypto in general. What's the future, and how do you think about Bitcoin, and like your general stance?
Well, I'm definitely I'm a fan of Bitcoin, definitely, without a doubt. It is like the granddaddy, but at the same time, it has limits. So the way that Digibyte originally started back in 2013, when it was being worked on by the founder Jared Tate, he also saw these shortcomings of Bitcoin, even back then, to be able to say, right, we can see that we're going to have a limit of around about 4 to 7 transactions per second. Now, that's not enough to handle the volume of the whole world. So that's basically how Digibyte kind of got started, to address some of these shortcomings and things that he felt could be improved upon. And ever since, so we've spent 5.5 years now of constant iterations and developments and improvements. And every time we've improved on the original product, we haven't gone and launched a new one or a new blockchain or a new ICO. We're not an ICO. So although Bitcoin can't specifically on-chain do cash for the world, it is very much headed towards a kind of a reserve currency, I feel. And
sort of value.
Yeah, well, have you read the what's that, the time traveling Bitcoiner or something?
Time framing?
There's a time traveling Bitcoin.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
And he kind of alludes to that as well. And that was like, I think that was posted like four or 5 years ago, something like that. That was great. I loved that. That was such a good story.
Sure.
But yeah, he alludes to governments buying it, right? And the government doesn't specifically have to trade and do like instant transactions. So I see Bitcoin kind of being okay with the fact that a transaction might one day cost $100, $200. And if a Bitcoin is worth like $1 million, $10 million, $100 million, who cares?
Yeah, it still will be cheaper than transferring gold with these airplanes or ships. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, sure. So maybe a transaction in Bitcoin ends up taking on average of, I don't know, half a day. But who cares if you're able to move like $1 billion around the world, say between Apple in the States and Apple in Australia or New Zealand, and they can do it in a permissionless way with like the utmost of security, then cool. If that's what Bitcoin evolves into, great, good for them. I love it.
Sure. Actually, like slowly moving to Digibyte, I think what one of the selling points, and like maybe not only selling points, but the accents for promoting Digibyte is the security level. So you guys are saying that Digibyte is one of the like securest ways for the transferring like on the blockchain, and at the same time Bitcoin is seem to be like on the general stance is the best security. So how do you estimate which one is most secure?
Well, here's a really good, it happened recently. So Binance were actually hacked and they lost, what was it, like 45 million or something like that? It was a lot of money. Now, they were talking, and although CZ says it was in jest, we don't know for sure if he was actually genuinely serious about potentially rolling back the blockchain.
He was, I guess.
Well, okay, like
at some point,
$45 million. Like if I lost $45 million,
like I think it's 7 million. No.
No, because he was offering I think he was offering 5 or 6 million just for leads on it. I think it was. But it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Now, the easiest way to roll back the Bitcoin blockchain, if you wanted to basically double spend and go all the way back and then fix this up, you would have to get pools to collaborate. You would have to. That's the easiest way. It's the only way. 70, I think it's 70, 68, 71%, give or take, of all mining power for Bitcoin comes from China, which is where CZ's from, although he's Canadian, of course, and now he's living in Malta, but that's okay. Now, look, he's on good terms with the pool operator. Singapore. Sorry. Yes. No, that's right.
No problem.
But he's on good terms with
right.
So that's going to be the easiest way. Is if I were to go to a couple of pool operators and go, hey guys, I'm going to give you $5 million, and I'm going to give you $5 million, and I'm going to give this other pool over here $8 million because they've got slightly more hash power. Cool. Between the three of them, they've got over 50% of the hash power. And so in which case they could roll back the blockchain and basically carry on and rebuild it from the last, like whenever it was. I think I did some back of the napkin math, and I figured if he was to do it after 12 hours, it would probably take him with 3 mining pools around about 4 days to catch up. And he could pay them out of that $45 million. It's been a long time, and so I'm not specific. I don't recall the specifics of it. But if you were to get 3 pools to all collaborate, then you could do whatever you wanted because you'd have over half the hash power. Now, if you
wait a second, just sorry for interrupting you. You say 3 pools having more than 50% or what?
Yeah, 3 pools have more than 50% of the hash power. What is it?
All right.
We can look this up. We have Chain's Block Explorer, and they'll tell us.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 pools currently have 54%.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Decentralization, right?
Yeah. So if you take those 3 pools, and you now take those 3 pools and you throw them at the Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin SV, again, they can double spend to their heart's content. But if you take those 3 pools and you throw them at the Digibyte blockchain, they're going to get around about, I think back of the napkin math, they're going to get around about 11 minutes before they can't go any further. Before the difficulty just gets so high, I think it's every 4 blocks, every 8 blocks, yeah, every 4 blocks it doubles. And it doubles, and it doubles, and it doubles, and it doubles, and it doubles. So all of a sudden, like, it doesn't matter how much hash power those 3 mining pools have, they can't double spend on Digibyte.
Okay, now let's look at that. How Digibyte makes this happen, make this possible?
So this is all done through multi-algorithm and multi-shield. So we got the 2 parts here. So we have our 5 different mining algorithms. We have SHA-256, which is from Bitcoin. We have Scrypt from Litecoin. We have Skeen. We have Quibbit. And just recently, we've gone and replaced one. We now have AutoCrypt, our own custom in-house developed one that is designed to be ASIC resistant. And there is no reason anybody would ever want to build an ASIC for it. So it's FPGA friendly. And between those 5, those are our 5 mining algorithms. Now, this is different from Ravencoin because with Ravencoin, it kind of rotates randomly between them. And everybody works on that same algorithm. So we go, okay, cool. We've just done one on Blue Midnight Wish. We're going to now do SHA-256. With Digibyte, all 5 constantly compete against each other every single time. And they're all racing and all competing for the next block. So it could be a SHA-256 block next. It could be an Scrypt block next. We don't know. It's whoever finds the answer first. So multi-shield takes these difficulties of all 5 of them and it adjusts them every single time. So if SHA-256 finds a block, their difficulty goes up and everyone else's goes down a smidge. And then if they find another one, well, then their difficulty is going to go up really, really high all of a sudden and make it really hard for them to get that next block. Whereas the other ones now have a lot more of a fighting chance. And so that is how Digibyte gets its power to resist one algorithm going rogue. And you could throw 100% every single SHA-256 miner at Digibyte, all of them around the world right now. And at most, you're going to get about 14 to 15 minutes worth.
Okay, so how about if I would have 3 pools, and each of those 3 pools will have different algorithms within Digibyte system, and then they will have like 60% and, three or 5 algorithms, and then like 50% of each of them. Would it be working the same way as Bitcoin then?
Well, so no, because again, it's different. So the way that the algorithms work and the way that the blockchain difficulty math works, it's multiplicative. So you need to have all 5 of them, and you've got to have a good majority in all 5 of them.
Right.
So this is where Digibyte. So right before our fork, I haven't actually checked in a little while. I think we had an average of between 9 and 11 different mining pools were required to have over 50%. But that didn't specifically, like, that wasn't an even playing field across all of them. That was heavily scrypt and SHA-256. So if you wanted to actually attain 51% of all of the hash power, I think last time I checked the hash pools, you needed to have around about 14 or 15 different pools all collaborating. So you've got to go and bribe 15 different entities, some of which we don't even know. And that was kind of the interesting thing when we did our Autocrypt upgrade. We didn't know who some of these pool operators, like, we know who they are for Bitcoin. We know, everybody knows. It's pretty common knowledge. We didn't know. We couldn't contact them and say, hey, we need you to run the latest so we can do our Autocrypt upgrade. Nobody knew. No one had a clue who they were. So it's
aliens
so
are
cool.
mining it, man.
Yeah, well, exactly. They're doing it from the moon, and that's where we're going to find the gold. And that's why everybody should buy Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's going to be worth more than gold, because we're mining it off the moon now.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. I mean, the whole concept is pretty cool. In fact, you said it's like from I think it's from 2014, if I'm not mistaken, and then it's making it one of the oldest crypto, in which is actually still holding its position to some extent at the relatively top. I mean, if you look at the list of the cryptos, altcoins at the first, let's say 10, 20, 30 for years back then, and then you would see that there was a completely different. Like maybe
heard of Feathercoin, have they? Or Namecoin?
Namecoin, exactly. Aurora coin. Yeah. So, but all of them are going pretty much like on the factor down, like from, let's say, 10th position to 100 and then 1000th position. And Digibyte is still holding. What I'm pretty, well, let's say I'm kind of a skeptical on altcoins in general, although I'm pretty open for the possibility that there will be one better technology, or there is actually the room for any other thing except Bitcoin. It's just the free market. We need to find options. Otherwise, it will be like the dead area. So, but what was my point is one of the greatest thing about the crypto space at the moment is that the strongest part of crypto is the community. So right now, when we have like support for different projects, of course, Bitcoiners, there are many people who are supporting Bitcoin, quote unquote Bitcoin maximalists, but for every altcoin we have like XRP army or Ethereum supporters and everything. And I think that for Digibyte, the community is actually really strong. So can you comment on that?
Yeah, so we've been around for a little while, like you mentioned. We've been around for 5.5 years now. So although we are not quite as old as, say, for example, Bitcoin or Litecoin, we are probably coming up 3rd place. We've been around for a very long time with a very devoted number of people. I know, for example, that if we're talking about the number of people that we have following on Twitter, those have grown organically over the last 5 years to, I think it's 130,000. Or the people that follow us on Signal, on Blockfolio, the app. There's like several 100,000 that get a push notification every time something cool happens in Digibyte. We do our upgrade, or certain interviews, or certain like protocol changes, or digi assets, all that sort of thing. Like hundreds of thousands of people get notified, and it's so cool to see that. And that's really reflected, I think, in our community overall, that we have been around for a while, and the whole community is forward thinking and willing to embrace that kind of a...
Yeah, that sounds cool. That sounds really cool. I mean, people are still staying in their positions. They don't give up. They still believe in the project, and like for years, and it's just growing and growing. That's awesome, I think. But again, people who are not familiar with the tech and cannot say like what the hell is the Digibyte, I just want to briefly for you to briefly explain what are the perks. Like, okay, Bitcoin is a store of value, Ethereum is like world computing system, XRP is for banking fast transfer, like Litecoin is a bit faster than Bitcoin. What is super cool about Digibyte, except it is like 40 times faster than Bitcoin for UTXO blockchain?
Yeah, so we are the fastest, longest, most secure UTXO blockchain. We're 40 times faster than Bitcoin. But although we do things like cash and those kind of payments really well together, we're not just about that. There is so much more that you can use a blockchain for the security aspect, which we've started to go into with DigiID, or for digital assets, which we've been doing now with Digi Assets, hence the name. I wonder where we got that from. But so if you're familiar with Ethereum, Ethereum is based off Mastercoin, which is all tied in very heavily with Omni, which is what we've got the USDT is based on top of. We've also gone down the open assets protocol route with our Digi Assets, and so this is what we're putting into our mobile wallets and things to allow people to issue assets for everything from tickets to like an Ed Sheeran concert, for example, through to for artwork is validated on the blockchain and an asset issued for that, for shares in a company, or you want to issue your own token, sure, you can do that on Digi Assets as well. So although we are not a complete Turing complete blockchain like Ethereum is, we've kind of gone for like the 80-20, if you will. We've gone for the most common things there. We scale far more, so we can do somewhere like 50 times the transaction volume of Ethereum currently, let alone any proposed future scaling that we have. So yeah, that sort of thing makes it really good, because if you're going to show up to an Ed Sheeran concert and you're going to have, let's say, 100,000 people, they all walk through the gates of that stadium within an hour, Ethereum can't handle that. No one can do that. It's, what is it,
Right.
17 a second? 17? Give or take. So yeah, we can do 1,000 a second already. So why not? Like that's awesome.
Yeah. By the way, just to clarify it a little. For example, we can find other types of altcoins which, well, kind of not exactly as the classical one, like Nano or Hedera hash graph. So when you're saying UTXO blockchain, what exactly it does mean?
So UTXO is
Sorry, and what is the preference? Like, what is the advantage of being that? Because I mean, you
yeah.
can make it much faster when you don't use it.
Yeah, you can. And so it's usually a combination of the accounting method versus as well as the proof of work or lack thereof method. So with UTXO, it stands for unspent transaction output, which basically means that we've kind of got the database isn't just like a cell in a spreadsheet. It's a list of transactions. And so what happens, it's kind of like when you go to, let's say you go to a 7-Eleven and you buy yourself a Coke and you give them $5. So of that $5, they're then going to give you some additional change. Now that change that they're going to give you is represented as an unspent transaction. They give it back to you. So you then hold that small amount. And so this is kind of different from Ethereum, where Ethereum literally just keeps a tally of everybody's active balances. They say, right, this is your address, this is your balance. That's called, I think they call it accounting method something. I'm not too familiar with it. Anyway, so UTXO and specifically proof of work, we're based off Bitcoin, and we're similar to Bitcoin with that UTXO and being proof of work, where miners mine the blocks every 15 seconds. The difference here between, say, for example, others like, say, some of them are proof of stake, so you've got to put up some coins, which basically just means there's no work being done. It's like a chance-based thing. Others use transaction validation as well instead. So you've got to validate someone else's transaction before your transaction can then be presented. There's a whole bunch of different ways of doing it. We've stuck with the tried and true method that Bitcoin has used for the last 10 years because it works and because we can scale it enough as it is for now. And if something better comes along, then we'll investigate it. But I think the thing with Digibyte is, unlike other projects, we're not about to go and relaunch a new one and start a new blockchain when we can grow our current one. So that's quite reassuring for people that are looking into the project.
Yeah, sure, makes sense. Speaking about the other projects and like the projections in the future, we are constantly seeing the advantages are going in the space, and like we have new technology is developing. So what are the future plans or future ways of improving and like moving forward for Digibyte?
Right. So at the moment we're in the middle of our Digi Assets upgrade. And this is going to be huge for us because once we've got it cemented in our mobile wallets, and really deeply ingrained in there, ways for you to manage these assets, easily transfer them, burn them, that sort of thing. We're going to that's really going to shape the future for Digibyte, I feel. But after this, we're going to look at other ways as well that we're going to replace one of our mining algorithms. So I mentioned before, we've got 5 of them, and they're all competing every single block against each other. We're going to replace one with a more GPU-friendly option so that people can mine and participate from home using their graphics cards. So that's something else that we're looking at as well, for sure. We're looking into further things such as block size upgrades. We're looking into improvements, again, similar to our DigiSpeed upgrade, which changes the way that we talk with other nodes to make that even faster and more reliable. We're looking at ways that we can restore the whole blockchain in a faster manner as well. A whole lot of different things like that. We've got a bunch of kind of fingers in different pies that are all kind of going on at the same time, and they're in the back of our mind. Even things like messaging between users using the Digibyte blockchain in an end-to-end encrypted manner is something that the world has sorely in need of with everything that's going on today. And your digital identity that you can use through the Digibyte blockchain is a perfect example of that. The cryptography that's all gone into it. So that's something else. Again, so a whole lot of different things like that.
Yeah, sure. Right. So, well, in fact, taking account the time limits, I have much more things to ask, but I would like to address the thing which is in particular interesting for the audience in general, because still crypto is to a lot of extent about speculation. So people are wanting to buy something which will grow in price, and then eventually they will get some profit and sell it to eventually to dollar, or maybe some BTC if we're talking about altcoins. So right now we have like a lot of the blood from the altcoin side. And Digibyte is not an exclusion, so also, I mean, with a USD comparative, it's fine. I mean, it's actually been growing, I think, from December last year, but as many others. But with respect to Bitcoin, it's also tanking. So, but anyway, right now we are using altcoins. Mostly, people are using altcoins for just speculation. However, since we have the case, even for Bitcoin, for example, like you can address to the talks from Andreas Antonopoulos, he was saying like, guys, you can trade or you can spend and receive your Bitcoin just for your business. So you want to buy a car, you want to sell your service, just to talk with the people and send them Bitcoin, and you don't need to deal with banks and etc. So in principle, such systems like crypto coins, they could be used for basically managing your financial activity. So I think that Digibyte is not an exclusion. So you also can do that, especially in the case if it is not at least depreciating with respect to dollar, at least in the long term. And then this is one of the way to use it. The second is speculation. How do you think? Do we have a chance not only to use it in that way, like for particular practical usage, but also to get some profits if we will invest in Digibyte in future? And what are the chances, considering all the altcoins bloodbath right now?
Yeah, well, I mean, so two things. The first thing that comes to mind is when we did some philanthropical work last year in Venezuela. We took a whole bunch of donations from people, and we helped out in things like with schools and with certain hospitals over there in Venezuela. Even things like fixing the refrigerator so that they can keep certain medicines chilled that need to be, so that children don't have to go walking to another like nearby city that's half a day's walk away. So little things like that, where we've already practically helped out in a philanthropic way. We paid with Digibyte, and the people over there were able to receive it. They got paid in it, and it just like it worked. They were blown away by the speed of it because they had previously used Bitcoin. Everyone knows how long Bitcoin takes, and you're sitting there and you're going, "Oh, is it actually going to confirm? I want 2 confirmations because I'm depositing it into the exchange. The exchange wants 2 confirms, and you're going, when is it actually going to confirm?" It's been in the mempool for half an hour now, and I want my confirmation. We don't have that problem with Digibyte. Now, in terms of will the price of Digibyte go up? Will it go down? When the bear market first set in, Digibyte held its own compared to a lot of others for the longest time. And look, the problem is I don't control it, so I don't know if the price is going to go up, going to go down, or it's going to do a barrel roll like it really could. There are a lot of fundamentals to Digibyte, though, that just make sense. And we've been around for 5.5 years. We're not going anywhere. We have a founder who is still very active to this day. He's still involved in the coding. He's not gone and sold at the top or anything.
He's cool.
He's still contributing to GitHub. He still jumps in the Telegram channels and things like that. He's building a business on top of the blockchain as well that people can use, so he can set an example. Like, that seems like a long-term commitment to me to say, yeah, I believe in it and I believe in this project, and it's not about to up and disappear overnight. We've just done I think it's our 7th major protocol upgrade with the AutoCrypt upgrade about, 3 weeks ago now, I think. This is huge. We're still very much forward thinking compared to other blockchains out there that released their product and they're like, cool, that's it, we're done. No upgrades. We're going to merge from Bitcoin and that's it. Like, what? That's not a value proposition. That's abandoning your project. So we are very much still forward thinking, still actively working on it. It works beautifully today. If we did that, if we just went, no, we're not going to upgrade it, we're just going to leave it as is, it'll still work really, really well on a global scale. But we're like, that's not enough. We've got to be forward thinking and looking to the future and going, we can do better. I can see this vision of even more that we can achieve. And so that's what we're pursuing. And that's, look, if people are after that kind of a forward thinking nature, fantastic. We are absolutely something they should look at investing in. If they are here to have us listed on an exchange and get a quick bump in the price so they can sell off and make some money, maybe not the best project for you. There's nothing wrong if you want to do that. But I obviously can't make any promises when it comes to price. So there are better alternatives if that's your game, basically.
Yeah. By the way, speaking about exchanges, I don't think that you are listed on Binance, right?
Correct.
So when Binance?
We've got a bit of a checker when it comes to Binance and some of the funds that they were after and things. Look, who knows? So I've personally filled out the application form for Binance four different occasions, and every single time it's completely different. And every single time it takes me about 2.5 to 4 hours, give or take. There's a lot of questions in there, and we obviously take it very seriously, like we do with all of our listing applications. Same for when we've applied for Coinbase. I think I filled that in 3 times myself now as well. They've got all the information there. If they want to add us, that's awesome. They've got some incredibly skilled developers. They're familiar with our code base because we've kept up to date with Bitcoin. So for them to add Digibyte's not a problem. And look, I hope they do, because that's where a lot of people go to do their trading. And yeah, it would be good to be on there. If they don't add us, again, that's their prerogative. It's their platform. It's their business. And we're a permissionless project. We can't make them do anything, just like they can't make us do anything. So yeah, I think that's cool. And yeah.
Yeah. Actually, it's regarding the last question, which I asked about the price. This is the kind of the answer what I would want to get from you. Like we are, of course, we want to have everything too fast. And when we're looking at the projects in crypto altcoins, which are like in their infancy, really, and of course, like 17th year was extremely overpriced for the in terms of value proposition for the altcoins, and now we're saying, oh, they're going down. The main thing which we have to look at is whether there is a chance for the future for these altcoins to be like something valuable. If there is some kind of tech, is there some kind of development, is there some kind of uniqueness comparing to others, and these sort of things. So this is exactly what I wanted to hear. So if there's fundamental basis behind it, and there's a chance, I didn't say there is a certainty, of course, there is no certainty in the market. So there's some kind of chance that eventually that will have a kind of a niche in the future space, in crypto, in finance, whatever, then yeah, it might be reasonable to act like a hedge fund and get some coins, whatever it will depreciate or appreciate in value, and just hold it for, I don't know, 10 years. And if the company will be still there, then your pension will be there, I guess, right? Just my opinion.
We're going to be using, we've already got Antum ID have built on top of our Digi ID layer, and they're using that to authenticate people for websites. They've got their plugins and things. It is a password manager without a database. So you can't hack in and steal anybody's password because it doesn't exist. It generates it every single time. Now, this is built on top of the Digibyte blockchain. Same for a bunch of other things, like we have the VID validation platform. They also use Digibyte. And so in the end of the day, look, if it just ends up being VID and I've got some documents and things that I store on the blockchain myself, maybe between the two of us, we just mine it forever and you know, whatever.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't think it's going to come to that. I don't think we're going to see the hash rate decrease to the point where I could mine from my computer on all of the algorithms again. It's just not going to happen. Like you say, the fundamentals matter, and they mean far too much already in Digibyte for it to up and disappear. So we've been here for 5.5 years, and look, I hope that in 5.5 years time you can look me up and hopefully you've got like billions of
sure, absolutely.
And maybe I'll be working full time on Digibyte at the time, retired, semi-retired, I don't know, who knows. So
yeah, that will be awesome. Absolutely. By the way, you're mentioning the Venezuela, I think. So in the kind of activity for Digibyte participants in terms of like transferring value using the blockchain and everything, is the like, let's say, South American countries, maybe Africans, some of the Asia, more active than Europe and States?
Yes. So it's very interesting because we have some real hotspots. So the Dutch community for Digibyte, huge, absolutely huge. Big shout out to them because they're great. They love mining as well. What else have we got? Turkey. Turkey is probably some of our biggest buyers of Digibyte. There's economic turmoil over there, and they understand the benefits. And so if you look on CoinMarketCap, for example, at who's the biggest fiat buyer, it's Turkey. I had no idea. We get a lot of other things as well. So obviously we're pretty popular in America. Argentina actually as well is quite big for Digibyte. We're very spread out. Even Australia actually is pretty big as well. Some of our developers are over there. Some of our core supporting companies that support Digibyte and exchanges where you can buy and sell, they're also in Australia. Yeah, look, we're worldwide, and I think a lot of this comes down to the fact that when we launched our mobile applications as well, a little over 12 months ago, they were available in 50 languages, over 50 languages. I think it's 54 languages or something like that. So we cover like 96% of the world's population. Like if you want to be able to use the app, it's in your native language. That makes a difference.
Absolutely.
Rather than, yeah, I mean, like, so let's say you speak Japanese and you download an app and it's only in English. That sucks. No one wants that. You're not going to use that app. Instead, you're going to go, you know what? I'm going to go use Monacoin because Monacoin's in my language.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. It's cool stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's why we made we've got a bit of a base growing in both Venezuela, in all of the Netherlands and Turkey as well, because we are in their native language. I think that's super cool, and I'm actually quite proud of the community, because the community at large are the ones that did those translations. And so thank you to the Digibyte community, because it's from you that we have achieved that.
Very cool. So I hope that I made a little bit of the participation for that, like spreading the word and everything. Hopefully it will be positive. All right. So I think we're talking like half an hour plus. And do you have anything else to end this with? I don't know, some elevator speed pitch or something?
Yeah, well, okay. So I think the thing with Digibyte is completely permissionless. No one can tell you what to do. I can't make anybody do anything. Jared can't make anybody do anything. We can't make an exchange list us. We don't have a slush fund from an ICO to go and bribe exchanges either. And like pay a few $1 million to Coinbase, for example. Ripple didn't do that, of course.
Of course
Anyway,
not.
no, of course not. But so Digibyte is permissionless, and with that comes great power because anybody can use the blockchain in any way they want. So if you want to go and you want to buy 1 million Digibyte and then go on an unfortunate boating accident with your private keys and you lose them all, I mean, that's completely up to you and nobody's going to stop you. If you want to store documents on the blockchain, again, that's fantastic and nobody can or is going to stop you. And same if you want to get involved and if you want to make YouTube videos about Digibyte, if you want to start a website and accept Digibyte, all of these things, we are a permissionless blockchain. And with that comes a great deal of power if you just simply want to do it. So I would encourage people, if you want to get involved, if you want to contribute in any way, whatever it is that you do that and you contribute to Digibyte and we would welcome you with open arms.
Yeah, that's awesome. So guys, you see, we can't really cover like 100% of the content related with Digibyte. Absolutely, it's impossible. We need like hours and days and weeks to understand all the details, but at least we just try to put those little seeds for your interest. Maybe you will go to their website, to Twitter, to Telegram, whatever, and then just look at some details. Maybe you got interested. At least not. I don't say like go and buy it. Of course, there's nothing is a financial advice, but just for the tech, I think it's interesting for just going deeper to the rabbit hole and see what's there. I mean, all the opportunities out there. There's no guarantees, but there's plenty of opportunities. All right. So I think that we're wrapping this up. I will leave the links to the resources with Digibyte in this description to this video down below. I hope that everything which we're speaking about this here is making kind of sense and will be useful for you guys. Thank you once again for joining us, for telling all those exciting things. And yeah, welcome for our little channel, and hope that your project will be successful in future.
Thank you so much for having me on your show, man. It's been an honor and a privilege.
My pleasure. My pleasure. All right. So maybe see you once again in 5 years. And so far, good luck.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye. Goodbye.